Right, you join me here today at Greenacres Lake in Peterborough. I got down yesterday. It's 170 miles away from where I live in Somerset, so it was a fair trek. It took me about 5 hours. Never actually been here before, so when I got here, Dave, the owner, he greeted me and took me for a bit of a walk round, had a look, and what a fantastic place. You know, it's got all different types of fishing situations. You've got reeds, there's channels, you've got an island, you've got snaggy margins, a bit of everything really. Having never fished it before, sort of fished it the way I would fish at maybe a place like Linear, 3 rods on one area, and well, and the bottom of the lake as well is as much up and down as anywhere else. Had a chuck with a lead, and probably not in any two places is the depth the same, so I had a good chuck around the lead for an hour or so. Eventually settled on a spot about 15 yards off the far reed line where I found sort of 8 or 9 foot, and it was fairly silty and it pulls up to a bit of a gravel bar. Clipped up just behind that. As I said, 3 rods on one area, the usual mix, hemp, sweet corn and boilies, 20 spodfuls of that out there, 3 rods on top. Hadn't seen any fish at that particular time. It was getting dark, I suppose about 7 o'clock. Saw one fish show down to my left, and down to the left, sort of the deeper end, the dam wall end as they call it. 9 o'clock, first bite, what a result. 9:30, another bite, and I had a 26 and a 16 in the net at the same time. Rods back out, had another one through the night, then it went quiet and really cold. This morning it's got light just before the cameras have arrived. I've just literally landed one now. While I got that one in the net and I'm sat here talking, I've just seen one show. Seen a couple sort of down to my left anyway, so what I'll do is we'll get this one out and have a look at it. I'm going to go down there, have a chuck with the lead, hopefully find a spot and move down there for a few hours to try and nick a bite. Well, here it is, stunning low double, and to be honest with you, all the fish I've had have been equally as good quality and as stunning as this. So if these are the type of fish that are in this place, this is seriously going to be a fantastic place, certainly when these grow up. And the lake record, you know, that's 47 pound, and it's just a shame really that I couldn't have showed you the 26 I had last night. There's a no sacking rule on here, so I had to phone Dave, the owner, up, and he come and done me a photograph. But again, equally as stunning as this, so let's get this one back and hopefully we can catch his big brother. Right, well here we are. As I said, move swim. I had to move swim. I couldn't have stayed where I was. It just wasn't going to happen there. It was quite apparent that the fish was sort of on this down wall end. Before I moved, it was quite sunny, so I chucked a lead out to where I saw the fish, found a spot, and unbeknown to me, I've just taken a quick walk around on the dam wall. Where I'm actually fishing is just this side of some sort of dying reeds. You can't really see them from this angle, but if you look at them from the side, you can see them. And I'd say I had a walk round there and sort of to eye up really for a potential stalking spot, because I can't really chuck a lead there from here because it's just too far. And walked in there, saw a few pinprick bubbles, so I knew there was fish there, and saw the reeds bash on the far side, and just thought to myself, if I stand here long enough, I wouldn't mind betting that I see a couple sort of swim underneath my feet. And sure enough, with that, I turned around and 2 sort of mid-20s, 1 mirror, 1 common come past. Come back round, got the 3 rods out, 10 spods over the top. I found a nice sort of like gravel plateau out there if you like. I've not really had too much of a lead about. Just sat here, literally just moved all my gear down here because this is where I'm going to spend sort of the remaining night that I've got. And left down rod's gone. So I've got all 3 rods on one area, so hopefully if they're mooching around in numbers, I've still got 2 rods out there left. This one's done a good thing and swum out to the left, so that's nowhere near my other 2 rods. Lead's come off, it's up on the surface, so hopefully we can land it. Feels all right as well, which is always a bonus. Just plodding out there. Well, leg clip's done its job. Fish has been on the top all the way in. So, clear of any snags or weed what's out there. Apparently it gets quite weedy, so I've not had a lead about, but I should imagine there's still a bit out there. Quite happy I sort of stuck to fishing here really. I was going to go and fish off the dam wall, but because it's an end of a lake, the fish, when you're fishing on the end of a lake, you sort of find that if the fish are there at one minute, you chuck to them, they can just move. At least here I've got sort of 30-40 yards of bank to my left, and then I've got the rest of the lake up there, so I'm not putting too much pressure on them. I'm just catching them as they're patrolling through. So, and it's proved that. I mean, this has probably only been out there, what, an hour in the right place. Even though I'd only just caught a fish from the other spot, sometimes you can just sit in your bivvy and you just know that deep down it's just not going to happen, and it's just pointless staying somewhere that's not going to happen. So you might as well move. I've got another night left, so I don't want to be sat there not on the fish. Looks like he's just about ready now. He's a nice fish, nice mirror. Here he comes. Yes, results. Oh, he's a nice one too. Try not to fall over. He's a 20. Perfect. There he is, 22 pounds 6 ounces of glorious Greenacres mirror. It just goes to show that by making a move, it's not happening in the swim you're in, you know. Don't be too stubborn and sit on your hands waiting for it to happen. You've got to go and make it happen. This one was nailed on a hinge stiff rig, something that, to be honest with you, I've not really used because I've never really, I don't know, in my type of fishing, not really found the need to use one. But the last couple of weeks I've been experimenting with them, and unbelievable the hook holds, and as it goes to prove, I had to give this one a bit of grief to get it away from some reeds. Safely landed. So we'll drop him back, we'll have a little look at the rigs. Right, well, I've not long had that fish, and seems to have gone a bit quiet. When I was putting the bait out, the swans were sort of mullering me, so I've cranked the rods in and come round to the bay that I said that I wouldn't want to chuck into because I didn't want to spook them out. So I crept round it with the Polaroids on, and literally about 6 foot out in front of me here, like it's crazy. There's a bit of a ledge and then it drops off, and probably since I've been stood here in 20 minutes, I reckon I've seen 20 different carp. You know, I could come round here and fish. And as we speak now, that there's one right there, and I could come around here and fish, but all I do is spook them out. I mean, where I'm fishing is on the corner of them reeds over there, so I'm not a million miles away. It only took me a couple of hours to get the first bite, so hopefully, like, I've got 24 hours left. If I can nick a bite or two every sort of 3 or 4 hours, you know, by the time I go home, I'm going to have had a fairly decent hit of fish. Might be worth, like, if I've not had anything through the night and it's looking a bit bleak, I can come around tomorrow and I might try and nick one. But I think if I fish here today, all I'll end up doing is I'll ruin my chances, and I just think the fish will end up sort of moving off and moving on to the rest of the lake. But one of the biggest fish in here, or should I say the biggest fish, the lake record, 47 pound. It's a real big, deep mirror, and I've just been stood here now and something's come through, and it's bigger than anything I've ever seen, and I'm convinced it's that, probably backed up with 5 or 6 other 30s, it's got 20 30s in here, and I can only see sort of 6 foot out and sort of 4 or 5 foot down in front of me. That's without looking across this whole bay, so what else is in here, I do not know, but it's nice to know that you're fishing for them, but it'd be even nicer if I caught one. So I'll stick with it round now, I'm not going to pressure them out. Hopefully if one drifts round, you know, they're big fish, I don't want to fish from near snags, it's just too dangerous. If I hook one and it runs me in the snags just for the sake of trying to hook a fish, it's really not worth it in my book, so I'll get just as much enjoyment as looking at them, but you never know. If one swings around the corner, I could always, I'll be partial to having a photograph of one. Okay, well as I mentioned earlier, the rig I'm using is something that I've not really used a lot before, and in fact I only used it the other week, and the pure reason that I put it on is I was fishing at Brasenose 2 on the linear complex. I was catching all through the day and I wanted to get my head down for a bit of sleep. Knowing the lake holds a few sort of bigger fish, it's got them up to 40 pound now, I thought put the hinge stiff rig out. This is a bit of a trend that it produces bigger fish. I put 3 of them out there, and lo and behold, I think I had 6 or 7 bites on them through the night, 5 of which were 20s. Now whether that was a coincidence or not, I really don't know, but I chucked them back out the following night and I caught again on them. So since then, that was only last week, so I've come to Greenacres here today and used them purely just because I got confidence in them. A lot of people would say, oh, they don't really suit my style of fishing. You know, people want to be changing the hooks all the time and sort of chopping and changing between different hooks and patterns. But with these SRs, they're tied out of, you know, I don't have any issues with them blunting on the bottom, so I'm not going to get no issues with them blunting on these. These are the pre-tied chod rigs from Fox. These are new out. They come 3 in a packet. You know, absolutely perfect for people like me who find it a bit fiddly to tie a chod rig. You know, these are absolutely perfect. They come ready tied. All I have to do is just tie a boom on them. All that happens is when you get a bite, they go a little bit out of shape, but with the material you can mould it back between your fingers, and you know, you've got a perfectly good hinge stiff rig ready to chuck out there again. This one here, this has got a size 5 SR. Down to a small ring swivel is how they come as standard. I've just dropped a bit of putty around the top there just to counterbalance the pop-up what I'm using. Boom wise, got about 6 to 7 inches of 20 pound Camatech soft. Purely soft because the bottom I'm fishing over is a little bit gravelly, a little bit up and down, so I don't want to be using something too stiff that will sit proud out of the bottom. And basically that just acts as a bit of a boom, so when it does go in, the pop-up's counterbalance, so it'll sort of land like so, and it'll just pull itself forward, and you've got perfect presentation every time. So that's the rig I'm using. Like I say, something that I wouldn't normally use, and to be fair, up until a couple of weeks ago, never used before. Know a lot of people that have had good results in it, so you know, why not give it a go? So it's worked for me, I'm sure it'll work for you. There we go, almost to the minute. I had a bite this time last night, 9:30. Just got into bed, almost willing it to go, I suppose, really. It's been a tough day, only the one fish today. There's no sacking rule on here, so anything we catch tonight will be filmed, so I'll probably look a little bit rough. Fish number 6, scraper 20 on the right hand rod. I've got all 3 rods that I was saying earlier on a nice tight area. Bit of an advantage here, you can park behind your swim. So I swung the van round, shone the headlights across to the far reed line, and I can pretty much follow the leading, so I know a couple of chucks and I'm back on exactly where I was fishing to before it got dark. a few more spots over the top, and hopefully, seems to be like last night was the bite time, hopefully I can nick a few more. And you know, this is a 20 pounder. Certainly them fish we saw today, they were definitely well over 30 and probably saw the big one, so they're out there. So let's get them back and hopefully we'll get another one. Here we go. It's just broke first light, about 7 o'clock now, and pretty much like the one last night, exactly the same time yesterday morning. I caught one just before the cameras arrived. This one's a little bit better though. I've managed a 20 in the night that you saw, another double, and then this one early this morning. This is the only common of the trip, just under 25 pound. Again on the Hinge stiff rig. Something I also forgot to mention when I was talking about the rigs was the fact that this particular venue doesn't allow leaders. So normally I'd go with, you know, a shock leader and a lead core leader. I'm fishing up to some quite robust reeds out there, and you know, I did sort of think if I get a bite it might sort of cause me a bit of grief, but I've got 20 pound Exocet mainline on, about 2 or 3 feet of rig tubing, just pinned that down for a little bit of putty on the end, and I haven't had no problems at all. So this will probably be the last fish I catch in this particular swim. Got to be off in a few hours, get this one out, we'll have a little look at it, and I'm probably going to go and have a little look in that bay, and if I can see anything worth fishing for, I'll have a go. If not, I can go home happy. So let's get this one out and we'll have a look. Well, there we go. 7 stunning mirrors, and I saw a common round there yesterday, and that looked equally as stunning. This probably isn't it, but how about that? They don't come much better than this. Still in its winter colours, still got a few leeches on, and just under 25. I'm not complaining. First trip to the venue, 8 fish, 4 doubles, a scraper 20, a 22, a 24, or just under 25 should I say, and a 26. So, and this is March, so I'll definitely be coming back when it warms up, and hopefully get that big one.
If you'd like to watch more videos from Fox Fishing TV, then click the link here. Or if you'd like to subscribe to the channel, then click the link here.